Okay, guys, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your friendly Dungeon Master this evening. Well, technically, I'll be your friendly Game Master, because, you see, tonight, we are playing our thrilling third issue of our very special session to benefit a charity. How's that, George? Playing...
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
Hero Games' a very cool Champions RPG. This is the Champions Complete game, but we are playing the 6th edition of the Hero system. If you have missed... Whoop, there we go. A little less glare. If you missed our first couple of episodes or issues, you may want to go back and watch those before this issue. But if you are caught up, then welcome to our thrilling third issue of this 4-issue miniseries. With me tonight are the stars of the Dead Winter miniseries. And I'll go through the order I've got you guys on the screen here. Which tells who you are and who you're playing and what beverages you're enjoying tonight. So first up is Jeffrey.
Hey everybody, I'm Jeff, and I am playing Tom Clemens, also known as Timberline, everybody's favorite hard-tackling football player. And I am drinking Bunnahabhain. I don't know, I just butchered that name. That's
What is it?
it's Scotch from Islay.
Cool.
12-year-old. It's very delicious.
Next up is John.
Hey everybody, I'm John. I am playing Warlock, aka Reynold Alistar, and I am drinking good old-fashioned dihydrogen oxide.
Nice. And next up is Arlen.
Hi, I'm Arlen. I'm playing Hardpoint, whose secret identity is Mark Tenagawa, but he doesn't share that because he's got his, face mask up for Hardpoint. And he's a sort of power suit wearing blaster type guy.
Are you enjoying anything special this evening?
I have water sitting over on the counter.
And last but not least is the generous benefactor who has made these sessions possible. It's George.
And I am George. I am playing Straight Arrow, whose secret identity is Antonio Santiago. And I am drinking ethyl alcohol and with water, otherwise known as vodka. I am drinking Belvedere. And I'm finishing off the last of this bottle. I guarantee this bottle will be gone by the next time we play.
Outstanding. So, guys, who wants to tell us what happened last session? Let's move you guys back to the scene of the attempted crime. Well, I guess there was an assault that happened. So, this was Raven's Crag Manor at the end of last session. Our heroes had been celebrating a somewhat mixed bag of success for their mission against Viper, trying to infiltrate Viper. And then we ended our first issue with our heroes. Let's see here. They were attending or having a bit of a celebration in Raven's Crag when some strange statue was delivered to Warlock's attention. And this, oopsies, where am I here? This was, of course, what the statue looked like. Where am I here? Where did I put it, guys? Oh, handouts, that's why. Boom, there we go. It was a statue of Anubis, the Egyptian judge of the dead. And then things got even more interesting. Something involving a bear. So what happened last session, guys?
A battle ensued with darkness zombies and confusion in the attic with a jack-in-the-box, and then a big bear appeared.
Yes. You guys also learned some information afterwards as well, too, because I think it was... I think it was Warlock. What'd you guys learn?
We learned the bear's name, Tillinkut.
Yep.
Demon of the Lost, a creature of trickery and deception, murderous and lying, with phenomenal power. We know that Timberline's father died to the ceiling of the creature. Chilling Cook is a minion of a more powerful primal being known as Escald, Escaldor, the Cold God, the Frost Raven, and King Tillich.
Kigatillik. Yeah.
Kigatillik, yeah. He's been deviling mankind since they walked in the north. So.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, so I believe that is where we left. And then you also learned that what this statue may actually represent is an artifact that granted power to a pretty imposing Canadian, well, not originally Canadian, but operative in Canada, a supervillain named Necrol.
The Lich power vampire.
Yeah. Also murderer of many superheroes as well, too. All right, so that's, I think what we'll do, guys, is we will actually pick up in the aftermath of the battle. So we see, this thing disappeared. It went invisible, and then you heard the sound of an insect, or insects, and then that seemed to fade. All of the risen spirits, the unquiet spirits present in Ravenscrag, had fallen back into quiescence, and we find our heroes standing at the foot of this enormous statue of Anubis. Let's pick up from there. Now, first off, Straight Arrow is really messed up right now. He has lost a lot of body. And if you guys are curious as to how fast you recover body, you recover an amount of body equal to your recovery stat in a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a flesh wound. Of course it is a...
So let's move back to the... Let's see, we'll go to this one again. All right, so this is where we left ours. George, your camera's working.
Yeah,
we got you.
Finally.
Nice.
Yeah, I've had you guys the whole time. I've been hitting freaking reconnecting.
So you see, Straight Arrow comes staggering out of that one room. He's got some pretty vicious cuts on him, but he seems to be holding himself together fairly well. Timberline, you actually suffered some cuts as well, right?
Yeah, Timberline is a little bit injured as well.
And this that massive creature, it said something to you as well, Timberline, didn't it?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what it called me, but it...
Scion?
Is that what it said?
Called you the Scion. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's start the session, though, guys, with replenishing or replacing your luck pool. So why don't each of you give me a 2d6 roll, and that'll be your points you can use to modify dice rolls for the session. That worked pretty well last time, and that worked a little better than just like giving you rerolls. Or it seemed to, at least. So that'll be our pool for rerolls for the session.
So 2d6, right?
Yes, please.
7.
Nice. All right, so a couple of things that you guys have learned here. I mean, obviously, you know that the name Kigatillik is something that you remember, Timberline, is because your mother has. Well, I don't know. You tell me. Do you think your mom, like, you grew up knowing who your father was, in the sense of like knowing it was Timberline, the superhero, or did you grow up not really knowing and then you found out later?
That's a tough question. Yeah, I think I knew.
Okay. So then you've known this from childhood. You knew that Kigatillik is the creature that's responsible, this primordial beast of... hey, nice, Straight Arrow, holy shit. You know that he is, or it is responsible for the death of your father and two other heroes as well, too. The former companions of Celestar. Celestar is the only one who survived, and she's kind of like a blaster, kind of like a cosmic-powered heroine. One of the more famous Canadian superheroes as well, too. Although her secret identity of Marie Tremblay is publicly known, and she sort of transitioned into a bit of a government role now, like a supervisory rather than fighting superhumans. But when your powers manifested, like you met her as a friend of the family years ago, and then when your powers manifested after your injury, she's been trying to help you with the the persisting pain symptoms that you've had. Like you've been taking effectively like incredibly powerful super drugs to manage a chronic pain condition.
Right.
Right. So, guys, you have been set upon by this phenomenal, is phenomenally ancient spirit of trickery, which seems to be linked to an even more primordial entity of cold and darkness. What happens next?
Well, this is truth. I actually am going to. So how much do we know? Would any of us know that Timberline's on painkillers?
Up to Timberline. Well, I think first off, does Timberline?
Have I ever seen Timberline like pop his painkillers or something like that?
Timberline, how open are you with? Because you guys aren't an actual team. You've only recently sort of been working together. So, what do you think,
right.
Jeff?
Have I seen you pop some like at the coffee shop or seen you?
Probably not.
Probably not. Okay.
Like, well, yeah, I don't think it's like public knowledge. I mean, I think you probably see me in different states. Like, you probably can tell when I'm kind of doped up, right? Like more than so. Depending on how observant you are, like I don't think that
I'm super observant. I've got a paramedics. That's the only thing that I think might clue me off about it.
Well, let's do this.
I also have bartending.
Yeah.
So
let's have Jeff, you give us a dexterity roll, and Straight Arrow, give us a perception roll. Let's see if you notice this at the thing.
What do you want me to roll?
Just a dex roll, please. Yeah, there should be on the first tab. There should be a thing on the right of your dexterity stat, like a dex roll.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think this is it.
Okay, so Timberline got a success by 7. Straight Arrow, let's see how you do. Let's see.
I think Roll20 doesn't like him right now.
You're taking a sweet time.
Yeah, it'd be faster. If you ever want me to just roll on the table, I'll roll on the table. So.
Yeah, you can do that as well. Oh, here we go. Oh.
Did it go?
It rolled a couple times, but you've actually got on the character sheet. Remember, perception is on the first tab at the bottom.
Oh well, if it went through, can I just take whatever it is?
You can. It's a 15, and it makes like at the coffee shop you were fairly focused on the barista anyway.
Sure.
So it does make sense in fiction why you were.
Oh yeah.
Why you missed it.
I forgot about that. Yeah, I probably missed it.
So. Okay, so
and
then
I was only doing that because I was going to try to get some painkillers from
Oh,
that was it. That was the only reason why I was even.
I mean, you might have seen that I have some. Like, I don't think
I was gonna.
Whether you would know I have a problem or not is what we were. You might know I have.
Oh yeah. Right. That was the only thing. I was trying to go. Hey man, how about look at this. From my injury, like I could just say pain. But anyway.
Yeah, I would give you some. I would give you some.
Hook a brother up.
For sure.
So what happens? I think Timberline, gives Straight Arrow a couple of his. Although
they're like probably powerful.
Yeah, they're calibrated for his superhuman physique.
I'd probably like break one in half and then break it into a quarter and be like, just take that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's his con? What's your con, Timberline?
30.
Oh yeah, you'd mess me up.
So, knowing, I guess, what are you guys thinking of this attack? What do you think of this? The reference to knowing what this creature represents, Timberline.
Yeah.
I think we're way out of our league.
Yeah, I do not feel ready to take on the evil that basically finished off my father, right? I mean, that's not something that I was ever looking for.
The story you've always been told about your father as well is that he and the two other heroes that he was with, the ones that sacrificed their lives, it was done to reestablish a seal. Kigatilik was sealed away by some kind of, like gods or spirits or something or other. You don't necessarily the full story. Although Warlock, I think with how well you rolled last time, I think you do know. The legends are that Kigatilik was sealed away by the Inuit gods, that they effectively eventually got fed up with him terrorizing the living beings that venture into the Northlands. So they sealed him away in at like an extraplanar, what you would understand as like an extraplanar, extra dimensional kind of prison, and they used a big slab of basalt to seal him in. And then in I think maybe this was Hardpoint. Didn't you roll quite well on your hero? I can't remember which of you guys rolled really well last time.
I rolled well on Superhuman World.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. 5. Okay, so then this is you who knows this. So what you know now, like that's the background that Warlock knew about the mystical kind of thing. You know that this thing first made an appearance after the... was it the 20s? The 40s. Late 40s, after World War II. There was this guy who called himself Voltok, the King of the North, or King of the Winter, who basically set off a nuclear bomb in a plot that involved the United Nations, and this damaged the block. And this thing, Kigatelek, was going to be released, and then suddenly these 4 heroes appeared, and they fought Kigatelek's minions up until the point of around the 60s. Oh no! From the point of the 60s going forward, and then in I think it's 1975 is when he was sealed. Yeah, 1975, when your father, when Timberline's father died, along with 3 other heroes, and Celestar was the only one who survived to effectively reseal this thing in. The fact that Timberline, your colleague Timberline, is has very similar powers to what his father did. You can picture that Timberline's costume is kind of like an updated version of a 60s costume. Like imagine a character that was created around the time of Fantastic Four or Spider-Man or the Avengers, not Captain America, but the other Avengers. That's the style of kind of Canadian costume that he had. Yours, Timberline, is an updated kind of modern version of your father's design.
Right.
And, yeah, so I mean that's what you know. That's sort
John
of
Byrne.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, even a little earlier than that though, or like more recent. This would be like a Brian Hitch redesign, as opposed to the not Ron Friends. Who am I thinking of? Oh gosh, John Buscema. Because all those John Buscema Kirby designs from the early issues of the Avengers, that's with like lots of like jagged, Mayan-inspired things on them for no apparent reason. So anyway, that's where you that's what you know about this. Now, you guys are not alone in this stuff though, because Timberline, you still have Celestar as a contact. So you do know her, you have a way of getting in touch with her. So if you wanted to try and get help, that's one venue for you. Warlock, you'll also notice you've got a contact with the Trismegistus Council as well too, which is like the council of good aligned mages. And interestingly, I mentioned the Archmage before. There's not been an Archmage since 1908. Yeah, well, we'll see. It seems like Dr. Caliburn may have thought that, and I actually did a handout for Dr. Caliburn now too. Oops, wrong one. And this is a reminder, Dr. Caliburn in the film version of our campaign is played by Sam Neill.
Nice.
So, I guess the final thing is, Hardpoint, you've got this too. You have that card that you got from Agent Cody Deere. That was the guy that was also undercover, and he was the one who's behind the Steel Jackets, the kind of special, shield style thing for the Canadian government. And this is, of course, what Agent Cody Deere looks like, played by Sam Rockwell in the film version of our campaign. That is a cleaned up version of the one that you met at the scene of the thing. So that's what other resources you guys do have access to. in terms of gathering information. One of the things where, and this is not news to George, but just to talk about how superhero campaigns differ from horror sessions or D&D sessions, is that superhero campaigns and superhero RPGs occupy a space where they've got kind of a foot in the dungeon delving kind of world where there's lots of combat in it, and they've also got a foot in the mystery and investigative world too, because that's a big part of it. So you get to kind of do the best of both worlds of have some really tense, crazy combat stuff, but also you have to transition into that. Okay, now I need to find clues, and the clues will hopefully lead me to more clues until I learn enough to be able to figure out what's going on here. We may be in that kind of scene right now. So, what is going on here, guys? What now that Straight Arrow, you are, I think, hit pretty heavily, even with the quarter tab.
I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
I am actually 100% fine. So,
Straight Arrow grabs a glass of wine, starts raising it to his lips, and Timberline stops him and puts it down like,
No, it's not. Yeah, it wouldn't be wine. I probably, I'm totally...
vodka.
Well, actually, let's see. I'm from Spain, so I'm probably doing, maybe I'm doing wine, actually. But, or tequila. But anyway, I'm definitely doing something. So,
okay.
No, I'm feeling completely fine. So so you're asking me what's my recommendation?
No, I'm just saying this is the state you guys are in. So now we will pick up with your heroes, figuring out what, or I guess you guys telling me what happens next here. It appears that the immediate threat has departed. Although, why did it depart? Why did it come here in the first place, I suppose? And how the hell did it know that the statue was here?
Yeah, I would say this. One thing I'd like to do, this takes time, but one thing I'd like to do is my quiver is half empty.
Yep.
And so I am not at my place. So, we haven't really discussed what it takes to recharge.
I'm fine with you having backups
charges.
here.
Yeah, so if this is our proverbial headquarters, I would say I have it there. If not, I'd have to go by my apartment or something.
Well, you know what?
That.
I mean, Warlock has access. He has control over Ravenscrag right now, so he can do that kind of that create a portal for you to just kind of step into your apartment, grab your stuff, come out, and it'll seal back up again.
Okay.
The Ravenscrag can be used to go elsewhere or back to Ravenscrag. Okay, so you got yourself restocked. Anyone who has suffered stun damage, your stun will have recovered at this point. Your endurance will have recovered as well, because you would have had a chance to catch your breath. But what are we thinking, guys? What the heck is going on here?
We don't actually know.
I think this is Warlock's show.
What's up with the statue, right? Is we have an idea about that it's related to Necrawl is the name that I wrote down as the superhero serial killer.
Yep.
But we don't know who sent it to us or any of that, do we at all yet?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
I think this is all Warlock's fault. So thanks, Warlock.
With the arrows, you did it.
We also have Warlock's relatively new home completely trashed as well too in the fight.
Mm-hmm. 3 windows, 2 holes in the ceiling.
Yeah.
I was keeping track.
I think there are mending enchantments likely made in here so that over time it will slowly piece itself back together.
Yeah, but that Jack in the Box won't.
No.
Oh, yeah. Actually, truthfully, that Jack in the Box, last game, was the thing that I was like, oh, shit, that's going to be the whole villain.
Okay. So what do we think, guys?
I think Warlock is going to he's just going to go over to the mahogany desk that Timberline leaped off of and pull out an envelope and start writing a letter towards the where is it? The
Trismegistus Council.
Magius Council.
Okay.
And then he's gonna seal it and then do his own thing and then send it off to them.
Okay.
And call for their aid as far as getting information about the statue and its ties to Necrawl and possibly killing Poop.
So I think the way that you do it is by tossing it into a fireplace.
Okay.
You toss it into a fireplace and it's consumed, and then it'll manifest on the desk of whoever your whatever member of the Trismegistus Council you need to contact. Would you kindly give me there should be a dice roll number next to the Trismegistus Council. Would you give me a dice roll, please?
3d6.
Okay.
Use 3 luck to make that hit the 11 mark that I need.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so then you will hear from them as well. So in the immediate scene, you've written that there is this enormous, magically enchanted statue of Anubis next to you as well. Mm-hmm. Timberline and Hardpoint and Straight Arrow seems to be chilling out with his wine and painkillers.
Right.
What are Hardpoint and Timberline thinking?
Warlock, does this rusty old mansion come with like any type of security system? Alarms or cameras or?
Well, this is an old insane asylum, and it's on a magical ley line focus point. We don't need that here.
Warlock, do you know where this statue came from?
The packing slip doesn't list a sender. So.
And Kevin, is the statue gone?
Statue's still here.
Oh, statue is still here? Okay. And Warlock, do you, anyway, without the accent, Warlock, do you have any enhanced senses or anything like that can tell anything about the statue or
I've
gain
examined
any extra knowledge?
I've examined it multiple times with my magic sense, and I'm not getting much out of it other than it's powerful. And it's probably a beacon to whatever wants the power.
It had an aura of life and death magic. Yeah, that's the extent of what you're able to sort of gather from this thing.
So what my plans are to take it to a secure part of the mansion, because there's got to be a place that's just like all concrete and only one way in, and he's gonna try and put some protective magics around it so that it's not sending out waves of "come get me."
Okay.
So that's all I can do at the moment until the council gets back to me.
Okay. So the way that would work, I think, is we would build effectively like an invisibility power using your variable power pool. Mm-hmm. So for now, your VPP will be tied up, or your spells will be tied up in keeping this thing concealed from. Okay. So that's what Warlock's doing in the immediate future. What about Timberline?
Timberline, I think he's gonna go speak with Warlock about if he has any idea why that thing would have been calling him the Scion. Because I don't know, right? Or do I know that, Kev?
I mean, Scion is an offspring, so I mean it's probably a reference to your lineage.
Warlock would respond. I don't know for certain, but oftentimes with mystical nature and occultism, the blood of one descended from the last person to seal an entity can be used to unseal. So I'm not sure if that's his goal or not, but he also needs a power source, and I'm guessing that's what the statue is.
Yeah.
God against God.
Last time I seem to remember is it Straight Arrow shot the statue a couple times, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I did nothing.
Yeah.
Well, you scratched it a little bit.
Not even like a flake that chipped off or anything like that?
Like a tiny bit of a crack.
No. Okay.
From one.
I'm wondering if it might be useful to to kind of speak out loud. If it might be useful to try to analyze what the statue is actually made out of at all. Mm-hmm. If it's made out of some weird, magically resonant material or something.
Interesting. Do you have any skills that might apply?
I don't think I have any skills that are related to that.
Yeah.
I was just thinking maybe I could punch it a couple times and hope that a chip flakes off and we could take it to one of the people who we're going to go talk to and say, hey, can you have your lab look at this thing?
So the people who, there's two people who would likely have access to that kind of stuff. The Agent Deer would likely have access to that through the steel jackets. I keep saying still. Let me just quickly double check one thing here, guys. I keep saying that, and I'm not sure if I've got that wrong. Give me a sec here. Canada, where are you? So there's the source book that is out for like the setting for the Champions default setting is a source book called Champions Universe, and it does a really great job of giving you just kind of like some hints about what the things are about, what the like there's a paragraph or so about or a half page about the Trismegistus Council. So there's enough to give you an idea of what that's about, but you can completely make it up to be whatever you want for it. There's not like a whole comprehensive canon history, which I really like. Steelhead. I knew I had that wrong. Steelhead Division. That's the equivalent of S.H.I.E.L.D. So Deer is an equivalent of that. They would likely have access to that stuff, but engaging the Steelhead Division might mean that they may be, governments really like to take control and supervise activity. So that there's a bit of a risk there. However, Timberline knows Celestar has been a superheroine for about 50 years now. So she likely has, not only likely, but she's got friends all over the place, including scientists and super smart super scientists and stuff. So if you guys want to try and break a finger off the statue or something like that, or break an ear off of it, and then send that to Celestar, that might be a more a way that doesn't necessarily trigger Steelhead.
Warlock is gonna need convincing to let you damage the statue, because he doesn't think it's a good idea.
Okay.
Magic statues are meant to contain and focus things. You go breaking them, things happen.
Right. Is there any way we could examine if there is something contained in this?
Yeah. The so it would take a little while, but you could. So here's another way we could do this. I can't remember rules as written how long it takes for you to. I know it says you need to have access to your spells, but I can't remember how long you need to switch your things over. But let's just say, for the sake of the story, that you are able to swap this over. And what he could do is basically buy extra points in his magic sense to make it really, really high, and then you can make a roll against it, and you could even extend that out into other mystic senses that were tied into that. And we could make we would describe it as some big mystic ritual that you're going to use to try and fully analyze this thing. Okay. So the way that... here's the things that... Well, first off, what I'll let you do, John, is why don't you tell us, what do we see? What's the visual of you preparing these things and getting this spell ready and everything?
Well, for Warlock, whenever he's messing with magic, he doesn't quite understand, because he's getting his powers from an ego of a long-dead sorcerer in his head.
Yep.
So he's learning these things from the thing as he goes. He's meticulous about drawing out patterns and making sure the magic's tightly contained and focused, and he puts symbols on every wall and ceiling to help focus it. And then he starts drawing on the powers of life and death, because it to focus with the energy already present in the statue, and
Yep.
uses that to force a bit of his own spirit out and into it, just to kind of feel it outside of his mortal senses.
Love it. Okay, so what you, in your sort of astral form, as it were, there's some more information you're able to pick up. For one, there is definitely a residual aura around this thing, but it's kind of like if you were to think of it like a battery, this is something with a residual charge where the bulk of the payload has already been drained. So this is something that once contained some very, very powerful thing. Now, in terms of damaging the physical form, you would have to do... It is protected by some fairly powerful warding magic. But you think that you could break off a small bit of it without necessarily affecting the overall structure of or without defeating the spell and accidentally releasing something.
Okay.
Okay. So you think you could get at least a bit of the thing that would have itself a bit of a residual, charge. Because if this thing was at full power, then yeah, it would be really dangerous to do that. But because this was discharged, that's not, that's not, it's not a concern like you're gonna, light a match next to a gasoline, canister.
Warlock, do you have any sense of like how or when this was discharged based on your magical senses, or?
I'm feeling that specific information is going to require a roll, right?
What was the question? Sorry.
Is if we have any sense of like how or when the energy was drained that was originally present in this battery.
Because he's dumped his all his VPP into there. Why don't you give me a magic sense roll here, Warlock?
Does it change my target number any?
I'm going to adjust for the difficulty of the target number. Will be offset by whatever you got from the VPP.
Okay, so it's 13 normally.
Okay. Okay. Oh, that didn't roll it though.
Oh.
Well, sorry,
that. Where's the use? Oh, I know where to click.
Yeah, I think it's under the first tab. Yes. Oh, nice. Look at that. Jeez, an 8 points or 6 point success. Okay, so what you can tell is that this was it has been I think almost 100 years since this thing has been drained.
Okay. Is there? I probably wouldn't be able to get a residual location as far as distance-wise from here that might have happened.
No, it's far too faint, and this thing has been moved as well too.
Okay.
Yeah, let me see here. Oh yeah, this was. Whew. Yeah, it's well over 100 years ago.
Okay. I repeat that over to hardpoint.
Okay. You say
While
that's
I'm in my trance.
You say that's a hard point, and then you look over at Timberline, and there's something that you did not notice before. Now, I think that what you know about Timberline is that he's the son of a superhero, like of a now dead superhero. You know that Timberline's father had similar powers to him, super strong, fast. He'd jump and stuff like that. But what you heard is that that it was some kind of injury and some kind of chemical thing. But when you're looking at Timberline, you can see that there's definitely a mystic aura around him, and you hadn't noticed that before.
Okay. Well, I take the opportunity to examine it while I'm in this state.
Okay. So you examine it, and I don't know if... Well, here, why don't you give me another Mage Sense check. Let's see how much information you're able to gain from this. Okay, right on the nose at 13. Okay. What you can tell is that this does not appear to be like a spell that's anchored on Timberline. It is something that is intrinsic to his being. But it might be some kind of... It's some kind of magical working. So it's not like a spell that someone would place on someone. It's some kind of magical development, and it's weirdly enmeshed with his physical makeup as well too.
Okay.
Things that you can't quite understand.
Could I try and project myself further in to see where the spell ties into him? Like if it's got roots to dig into him, or it's just radiating?
That's as much as you're able to, unfortunately, gain from studying the aura. It's really unlike anything you've ever seen before.
Yeah, I heard you mention something about a pushing effect or something. Could I do that?
What that does, so what pushing does is you can spend in up to 10 points of endurance to gain up to 10 points in a power. I think that's about as much as you're able to gain from examining his aura at this point.
It's really interesting Warlock, because Timberline does not seem like a magic person to Warlock, and this is extremely interesting.
And I'll tell you one thing: you will definitely recognize that pattern again, though. It's such a unique pattern. You would definitely recognize that again.
Okay. Warlock wants to experiment just a little bit, just because it's in his nature. He sends a bit of his own magic towards Timberline to see how the aura reacts to it. Like, not so much as an attack, but presses against it to a certain point. and to see if it rebounds him or just passes through him, or he's trying to figure out what kind of, is it a protective aura or just something of that general nature?
So it's not like, I mean, you're gonna have to give me a more specific of what you mean by that. Like, you can't manipulate that aura if that's what you're asking.
He wants to kind of see if it responds to magic in a certain way, like if
It doesn't seem to, like, it doesn't augment magic, it doesn't dampen magic, it seems to be something that's just, there are some things, well, here's the best way to think of it is that it does seem to be something that is gifted, but it's intrinsic to him in the same way that if you studied, say, a griffin, you know, or I'm trying to think of another inherently magical creature, a genie, or something like that, or a djinn, that this is sort of what the pattern you would see from that would be.
Okay, so with that, Warlock's his eyes snap open in real life. He's not just mumbling anymore.
Yeah.
And he looks at Timberline and says, "Scion, indeed, it's in your blood.
What
You
is
are
in my blood?
special, my friend. I don't know how or why, but you are special."
This is the first I've ever heard of this.
And that's what he says, because he thinks he's right. Anyway, we can probably snap a piece off the statue. Try for an extremity away from the core. Whatever charged this thing up was long spent. It's just a residual aura now.
Okay, so you want me to try and break a piece off, or should we get Hardpoint to like shoot a little piece off with one of his little?
I prefer concise and controlled. Hardpoint blast things. Yeah,
But doesn't he have any small lasers on that suit? I mean, what would you want me to break off? I'm not sure that I can do it concisely.
Well, is there like any like a tip of an ear? Just break it, because it looks like pretty pointy ears.
Yeah. Hardpoint, you do have one ability, don't you? That.
Yeah, I have that laser bolt that you said was good for attacking inanimate objects.
Yeah. Let's see here. Where are you?
Like what kind of attack? A big boom attack, or?
There you go, Hardpoint. Let's see.
Warlock's all about magic too, but this is like an artifact. It's like, don't blow it up. It's probably worth.
Yeah, laser bolt. And it does suffer a burnout too.
Yeah, so that's a big shot, isn't it?
Yeah, so it seems like it might be better to just have Timberline see if he can't kind of wrench it and.
Sure.
Yeah,
You
just
show me where.
grab it and just take the ear and just snap it. Like try for like a pinky size little bit of the ear.
Okay, that's
Okay.
what he'll try to do.
So yeah, we'll say you're able to get up there, and you know, with time and with extra effort, you are able to snap off a bit
And
from.
very specifically, caution.
Yeah. Okay. Boom, and you find, you wrap your big hand around the top of this ear. You kind of look at the other guys to see what their reactions are, and then it's just like a little twist, and you hear like a cracking sound, and then you open your hand, and there's a tiny little tip of that statue in your hand, and the interior of this thing is it's that same blue black that the statue itself is made from too. It seems to be a solid carved from a single solid piece of stone. So, anything else happening at Ravenscrag before you guys?
I'm definitely handing this thing off to Warlock or Hardpoint or someone else. Like, well, that's the extent of my help on that examination.
Okay.
Do we want to get the government involved, or do we want to save it for the council and have them examine it?
Avoid the government.
That's my first instinct as well.
Seems like what we wanted was either the Mages Council to examine it, or the I can't remember the name of the retired super lady,
Celestar.
Celestar, who might be able to.
I would actually say I would rather get Viper involved than the government.
Is this by any chance because of your criminal record? Straight arrow. Oh, I lost you there, George. Sorry.
Yeah, he dropped from Hangouts.
Oh, George. Oh, shoot, he can't hear us. Hold on. Maybe I think he'll pick up that he doesn't hear us in a sec. Oh yeah, he's gone from the Hangout, so he can't hear us anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see here. I'm trying to hold up a sign. Okay. Whoop. Let's see if he leans in. Oh, come on, George. Lean in. Come on. Come on. Yes! There we go. Okay.
Don't you love technology?
Camera is messing up here. Oh, you know, here, let me post the link to the Hangout as well.
George should actually just feel at home here on the channel. Tech issues is like our
Yes.
fourth most talked about topic on the show.
For sure. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. So the while we're waiting for George to get back in, I think there you are going to receive a letter, Warlock. Where do you think you would be in Ravenscrag when that happens?
It'd probably be near the mahogany table.
Okay.
Because that's where he does all of his sending and receiving.
Sure. So you are well. You're down. There's we know you got a library where all your books are. So maybe you're in the middle of researching there, trying to get your stuff together. Let's see here. Oh, still don't see him in Hangouts. There we go. Let's see. So you're working away there. You know, you got your cloak off, your arm, your sleeves are rolled up. You know, you're busy at work, and you see this note appears next to you.
Okay.
And it is marked. There is a wax seal on it, and it says AA on it.
I raise an eyebrow at that and try to recall who that is. My contact?
Do you have any? Yeah. Do you have any? What do you call it? Any skills relating to like knowledge of magic community or anything like that?
I've got High Society, Arcane, Occult Lore, Demonology, Sorcery, and Montreal.
Yeah, Arcane Occult Lore. I'll let you use that. Nice.
All right.
So this is. Oh, 1 second here. I've got his name written in the handout. That would, of course, this is likely from Aloysius Abercrombie, who is one member of the Trismegistus Council. You actually haven't met Aloysius yet, but he is... Hey, he's back. George, can you hear us? Uh-oh.
Nope.
George, can you hear us in the Hangout? Ooh. Let's see. Can you hear us now? Hello. Oh, I see your lips moving. I don't hear you, George, but can you guys hear George?
I cannot hear George.
No. Okay. Let's see. So George, I'm not sure if you can hear us. We can't hear you right now. Okay, so you can hear us. That's good. We can't hear you though. So I don't know what has happened there. It suddenly just kicked you out of the Hangout for some reason. So I'm not sure. You did manage to get that Hangout working again. I don't remember what you did to get it to that point. But maybe he's reworking here. Okay, so what you know, Warlock, is that this is the and George, I can see you're in the Hangout, so if you can hear us, you can hear what's going along. A letter has just arrived for Warlock from someone named AA, which you know as Aloysius Abercrombie.
Okay. So he Do I know this guy's prestige at all, or?
Well, he's a member of the Trismegistus Council, which means he's one of the most powerful sorcerers in the world.
Okay, that's just like kind of his rank in the council.
There isn't really ranks within. You're either, it's kind of like all or nothing. It's a council as opposed to like a something led by one individual.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, that he'll pick up the letter and look for any kind of spells on it to make sure it was me that opened it.
Yeah.
And then just rip it open and pull it out and see what it says.
Okay. You open it, and George, can you hear us now?
Oh yeah, I hear everything. Perfect.
We hear you now. Yeah, we can hear you now.
All right, this is how you guys know that I was correct, is because the last thing I said before I went silent was "Don't trust the feds," and then I got dropped instantly, and so I got dropped from all of it and went blank. So that's how you know that we should contact the council or anybody else other than the government. So.
Gotcha.
So what the message says is, one second here, is one word in it. That word is... Oh, sorry, I was reading this the other day. Where is it? Come on, Kev. Come on, Kev. Jeez, get it together, Madison. Come on.
The suspense, it kills us.
Mm-hmm. Here.
Hey, Kev, can you hear me? Do you want me to hit refresh?
No, we can hear you just fine. Let me hit, you're coming through. Your audio is great. Let me hit reconnect on mine, see if we can get your camera working again. Boom. Let's see here. No joy with your camera, but your camera's been kind of at the whim. Hey, you're back. Perfect.
I'm back. Okay.
Excellent. We can hear everything. It's actually two words. Mackenzie House. And you know this, Warlock, because Mackenzie House is an ancestral mansion of the Mackenzie family that was dedicated, this was donated to the Trismegistus Council centuries ago. It is one of the most important lodges maintained by the Trismegistus Council, one of which includes Ravenscrag.
So I assume, and I think I assume rightly, he wants at least me to go there and to meet up. What do I know about inviting others that aren't in the circle?
That's your... I mean, they will. I think that what the etiquette would be is that they would be expected to be your guests, so you would be responsible for any misbehavior on their parts.
Okay. Well, I definitely want to take Timberline because he's got that aura that might be important.
Yeah.
They might be able to help Straight Arrow with his injuries. And Hardpoint, I don't know, he might fell out of place.
Okay.
But, he'd probably be a good backup in case magic gets out of hand.
Okay. So,
you guys up for a trip?
Let's do it.
Well, absolutely.
All right.
And I'll use the wards because I'm guessing they invited me there. So if there's any bearers, it should let me through.
Yes.
I'll do my whole teleportation circle, and then we'll walk through it.
Okay. So you draw the same.
But before I leave, I want to switch my points back to that deflection hex we talked about earlier.
Well, then that means you will not be concealing the statue.
Oh, never mind. Let's leave that there.
Okay. So you get that. You finish up with that stuff. While that would have taken Warlock, I'm picturing at least an hour or so in order to do that stuff. So, is there anything else the rest of you guys want to do in that time?
Timberline probably took a hot shower.
Yeah. Cool. And you can see. I think we can see like you're out of the shower.
Nice.
You wipe off the steam from the the steam covered mirror, and we see on because you're played in the film reversion by Dave Bautista, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And what you can see is the like
Big
freshly
scar.
healed, the gouges from this thing, and they're huge. This is if this had gone, 2 inches or 3 inches closer to you, it may have torn through your rib cage.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like this thing was no joke. Your suit, though, there is a we'll say that Warlock's. He says he told you to hang the suit in a specific closet, and then you go over to the closet, you take it out, and your suit is completely mended and completely clean.
Perfect.
Yeah. Hardpoint. What about you? Anything in the time while Warlock is casting these enchantments?
Probably just, I don't think Hardpoint has been kind of smashing up things accidentally a lot,
Yeah.
so I don't think he really gets the gravity of the whole mage thing. So he's probably just kind of pacing back and forth impatiently in his armor, like, what's taking so long?
Okay.
Just cast a spell.
So let me point out one thing about Hardpoint's character sheet, because this is one of the classic things that makes up Champion's characters. You have perhaps the most abused disadvantage, or now called complication, a superhero can have, and that is the DNPC, the dependent NPC. DNPC.
But they're the best.
Yes, they really are. Dependent NPC is effectively your Lois Lane or your Jimmy Olsen. It's your Mary Jane. It's the Robin the Boy Hostage. It's a character who causes story complications for you in the course of play. And it turns out you've been, I think, some of your time has been spent dodging your DNPC, which I believe is your girlfriend.
It is. It is.
Yes.
That is excellent to dodge the girlfriend.
So what is the what do we see?
Dodge the girlfriend.
Like what is the text stream that we're seeing coming up in your heads-up display?
Oh, well, she probably tries to call, and I mute it, and then she texts and says, "Hey, is everything all right?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, we're just a little busy right now. Can't really talk right now." And then of course she has something that she wants to talk about.
Yeah, we had plans tonight. We're supposed to go and see the they're doing Richard II in the park.
Yeah, but there's some stuff that's going on that's a little high level. It's kind of complicated.
This is someone who does not know your secret identity.
Yeah. So
what do you mean
what
high
is
level?
my day job?
You're a web programmer. What do you mean you're...
Okay. Well, what happens if the internet goes down, right?
What's your character's first name again?
Mark.
Mark. You're saying you're keeping the whole internet up? Like, if you didn't want to go, then you should have just told me. I'll find someone else.
No, I do want to go. Just not tonight would be great.
Yeah. So you're just like, oh, jeez, you're gonna pay for that.
Yep.
So the what about Straight Arrow? Anything that Straight Arrow wants to do in the hour or so you've got?
All right. So it is Mackenzie House.
That's where Warlock is going to be taking you guys. Yeah.
Okay. Do we know that?
I think
I'll be telling you explicitly how to behave when we get there. So yeah.
Okay, but we don't know the name of the place, right?
Oh, I tell you.
Oh, okay. So I will assume it's that this place is based on Mackenzie Phillips from One Life to Live, or whatever that show was.
I think this is more
whatever.
based on if you can picture the.
No, I know, but
yeah.
I'll assume it's I'll assume it's something completely wrong.
Okay.
So, and I think that was the actress from that TV show in the 70s.
So Straight Arrow's
And
got
really, the only thing I'm going to really probably do is take shower, clean up, and then do a paramedics roll on myself.
Sure.
And
go ahead.
that would probably be some sort of fish hook and stitching
Yeah.
sort of thing. Right.
So let's see here. Paramedics is.
I put my levels into it.
Yep.
And I think I have that'd be a 15 or less.
Unless, you may be able to do more in the full 60 rules. The skill really only can prevent you from dying, or prevent you from bleeding out.
No,
So
and it doesn't actually change anything. It
okay.
Just makes me feel better.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But it actually has absolutely no effect at all.
I love it.
But I don't feel as bad. That's
You
the
know
whole,
what?
That's
Oh,
it.
jeez.
Right.
I just George,
I get
because
a
of
15
these.
or less. Right, but that's it. No, it does not change anything. But I
You know
just
what?
don't feel as bad about my situation.
Give me a second. So one thing that these what do you call it? That these sessions has prompted me to do is I have finally ordered. I didn't realize that I've got all the like the blue books printed for 6th edition, but I thought I did. I didn't realize that there was a skills book as well. So that is now on its way to me in print, thanks to running these sessions. But the skills book is 400 pages of optional rules for using this stuff.
Shit.
So
I would
I'm gonna
ignore all those.
I'm gonna take a quick look here and just see if there is any optional rules in here for doing. What do we got here?
Well, no, I mean I'm not going to bleed out, but like I said,
Yeah.
I feel better. It looks super cool, 80s action-ish.
You got a badass scar now.
Yeah, it looks pretty badass for me to get a fish hook and some line and stitch this thing up and and whatever. The main thing that's helping me feel better is our Timberline's super hydrocodone.
So here's here, if you don't mind, I'll click on your skill for you here, but there is actually, thanks to Steve Long, you may be recovering a little bit of body here, because there is an optional rule that we will use. And if you're thinking that, Kev, this just sounds like you're justifying a impulse purchase of yours, I'd say that you're a pretty good judge of character.
Probably true.
So
Well,
paramedics, boom.
It is to help benefit good roleplay.
It is. There you go. So you know what, Straight Arrow? You actually recover 2 body.
Okay.
So not only do you look badass, you also recover 2 body. If you'd failed, you would have done one more body to yourself.
Yeah, exactly. That's the downside of a paramedics roll. If you roll an 18, you die.
Yeah. Let me just apply this Band-Aid. Okay, so then...
Oh, I punctured an artery and bled out.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So we see you guys, and Straight Arrow, you hang your costume or uniform in the same closet that Timberline does, so you have that restored to you, fresh and ready to go as well.
Okay.
So our heroes meet up again. Everyone kind of finishing suiting up in the foyer, and Warlock, you have once again, you've got your big cloak on, and you guys are ready to travel to Mackenzie House.
Yeah, because Warlock hates the cold, actually. So.
Say again?
Warlock hates the cold.
He hates the cold. Okay. Okay.
You
So
are
then,
a lousy Canadian.
Well, it came with the powers, so you take it where you get it.
So you begin tracing the lines on the ground that are required to activate this portal, and so your character's name again is, sorry, I wrote it down here, Reynolds Alistair?
Yeah, Alistair.
Alistair is your first name or your last name?
Reynolds is the first name.
Reynolds is the first name, okay. So you draw these things on the ground, these arcane runes appear, and then with a gesture it opens up, and you guys can see that sitting before you is this pair of massive dark stained oak doors with big ornate black steel or black iron kind of like knockers or on them, and you can I think then the smell of the like fresh air and whatnot kind of comes in.
Dude,
you guys are...
when you said giant knockers, I'm just thinking Terry Garr from Young Frankenstein. Oh, knock us!
So you guys are passing through?
Yes.
You step through and then it collapses down. And you can see on each of the doors there is a big M that's stylized in the same black metal that is the kind of like the knockers and the the sort of edging and filigree and whatnot on these doors is. Where you're looking around, you can see this incredibly impressive the grounds of this like Scottish manor. You seem to have transported yourself to somewhere in the Highlands now, and it is evening. The moon is high above the clouds. What do you guys do?
We're expected, I think.
Okay.
Okay.
Straight Arrow will, and we're in modern era.
Yeah. Oh,
Right,
yeah.
Kevin?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, I can't believe I've forgotten this, but I totally would probably be posting everything we do on social media.
Okay.
I completely, probably, totally would be. My character would probably be Snapchatting
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
that we ever do.
There is
on that.
there is no internet connection at Mackenzie House.
Word of
Yeah.
caution: photography is disallowed in my manor by magic. So.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
but my guy would be totally doing that if it
Yeah.
were allowed. But I'll put the camera phone up
Okay.
for the moment.
Okay. So, what happens next?
Warlock will walk up the steps and look around because he's a little nervous, and then he'll just knock. He'll grab one of the knockers and go.
You're about to hit the door, and then the door and opens up on its own. And you see there is a long hallway, very similar to what's at Ravenscrag as well too. It's a big sweeping staircase that leads up another side to further in. There's some doors that lead deeper into this massive sprawling mansion. But the person who gets your attention is the man standing in the middle of the hallway. He's alone. There's no one else with him, and he looks, guys, like this.
So yeah, I spelled his name perfectly.
Nice. So he has that same look on his face as well too, and he's studying, as if he's studying the lot of you, and his eyes sort of meet yours, Warlock, and he says, "Master Alistair, I trust."
Indeed, although in the present company you might refer to me as Warlock.
And his eye kind of arcs up, and he says, "So we're using cute names, are we?"
Well, in the company that I carry, yes. I don't want to confuse them too much.
I would have thought cute names were reserved for children, though I see perhaps that may be what I'm dealing with. Welcome
Well, my good sir, I am
to Mackenzie
a
House.
child.
I am Aloysius Al Abercrombie. And he gestures, bows down. It is a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Alistair.
Okay.
Caliburn has spoken to me of you. Please, come.
Well, I do introductions. This is Hardpoint, Timberline, and Straight Arrow. When I look at Hardpoint and say, if you break stuff in here, I have to pay for it.
So he looks at each of you guys in turn, and he kind of fixes a look on you, and then he basically says, Mr. or Master so-and-so, and it introduces by your last names. He seems to know every one of your last names. Just then, there's no need to talk in the foyer, and he gestures and the door closes behind him. We'll discuss matters in this study. And he walks in. How are you finding Ravenscrag, Master Alistair?
Well, from the few moments that I've glimpsed it, it's a little cold, but serene. I like it.
Serene. Strange to so I've not heard a locale haunted by the ghosts of 100 years of inmates described as such, but I suppose
Well, have you seen my place? It's been lively lately.
lively.
Oh,
I say.
yes. He asked about Ravenscrag, not Mackenzie, John.
Oh, sorry. Okay, let me revamp that.
And this Ravenscrag, the wallpaper is terrible. The zombie things came out of the walls. So anyway, I'm like, yes, the wallpaper is terrible. This place needs decorating. It is terrible. It's the worst place. It is the worst place ever.
So Abercrombie
Bears.
kind of
Don't feed the animals. They mean bears.
The bears and the wallpaper are terrible.
So he turns and looks at Straight Arrow and kind of fixes him with the same, disapproving look. And then he looks over at you, Warlock, and says, "Is there something wrong with him?"
Well, he's a little punch drunk from a combination of being viciously mauled by Tillincoot and also hyped up on Timberline's medication. So forgive him for his behavior.
He looks at you. How do you know that name?
Well, my mansion was just attacked by Tillincoot and his undead minions, and they seem to be after a long discharged statue of Anubis that was delivered to me without a return address.
This shuts him up. He gestures and says, "Have a seat." And with as he's going down, he gestures with one free hand, and drinks drift over from the side table over to each of you guys, and it's precisely what you would have wanted. And he sits
down closest to the fire.
He sits down in a big wingback chair, and then as he does, almost timed perfectly, he reaches his hand out, and a snifter of brandy lands in his hand, and he says, are you certain that it was Tillincoot?"
I'm pretty certain, since he and I look over at Timberline, he mentioned the Scion when he was referring to the son of the last person to seal.
The Scion?
Yeah.
He looks at Timberline.
You are aware of Celestar, I assume.
Celestar. The Canadian heroine.
Mm-hmm.
Why is she... Oh, I see. So you aren't simply someone wearing the mantle of your better. You are a successor to your father, is it?
Yes.
That is curious. Tell me, how did you... I trust you have abilities, gifts?
I do.
And how did you come by these gifts?
Well, I don't know. Through...
Did you always have them?
No. Through stuff that was done to me in my career, I've gained some abilities.
He looks and gestures, again, and there's kind of his eyes flare like a golden hue. And you can't see his pupils, his irises, anything like that. It's just gold. And he studies you. And he blinks and it's gone. And he says, "It appears that your father may have gifted you more than your name, son. Though there's something..." And he kind of studies, kind of looks you up and down. There's something, and he reaches in your, or he sort of, I think he just this kind of reaches behind your ear kind of thing, and then comes back and he's got your painkiller meds in his hand. He says, "It appears there is a flaw in the enchantment, however." And you didn't know that. I think you probably had them on you, secured in some kind of pouch or something. But this guy's just holding out your meds in front of you right now.
I'm in shock.
Are you stealing from my guests?
He looks at you. "You forget yourself, master. You are guests in my house."
I need those for the pain that I suffer.
I know. A wound that does not heal. I see. And he gestures, and it disappears from his hand like a close-up magic trick. And if you check your compartment...
Yeah, I will. I'll go back to where I had them and check them.
Yeah, and they're there. It seems that our Achilles has a heel.
Nice line.
So this has... why did Tillincoot arrive? You know the connection between his forefather and that foul spirit's master.
I can only assume he was after the statue, which, the moment we uncovered it coincided with his attack.
And the statue. A statue of Anubis, you say? Tell me more. You sensed it?
I have delved into it. There's lingering magic of life and death within, but whatever charge it held was drained over 100 years ago. So it may have just only tempted him, but
his eyebrows go up, and he says, oh, 1 second here. His eyebrows go up, and he looks at you, and as if he's kind of trying to judge whether you might know what he knows. And he says, Necrol.
I can only assume. Isn't that when he lost whatever granted him his long life?
Caliburn has not neglected your history lessons, I see.
No, he is not.
That device, the statue, has been long sought by Necrol. Word among the wise is that his power was originally derived from such a statue, though it's been lost to history, hidden from us and our scrying for years. Fortunately, from him as well. I trust you don't know from where the statue was sent.
I was not able to discern that. The packing slip, mundane means it was unhelpful, and I could not delve deeper and to find out where it came from.
That is disconcerting. I trust that you secured the statue.
Oh, indeed. I've devoted most of my attention to concealing it.
Necrol is a foe not to be trifled with, and you certainly don't need two such beings pursuing you. Though why would Tillincoot have an interest, or even indeed be aware, that the statue was at Ravenscrag?
I can only assume the two are involved somehow.
I sense that this may be two stones set in motion by the same hand, but rolling to different ends.
Indeed.
And he turns to Timberline, and he says, I recognize your aura, for I've seen it before. You may not have known him. One of your father's companions, a man named Kiviak, a wise man. He was known to me before his death. Did you ever know where your father's powers, where his source of power was derived?
No, I did not. Was it from Kiviak?
It was not from Kigatilik, the master of Tillincoot, but instead from Tillincoot's jailers. The gods of the people you would know as the Inuit. They gifted all four heroes. Celestar, your father, Timberline, Bon Vivien, and Kiviak. And it was their mystic power that was offered up to seal Tillincoot's master back in his cave of dark and cold. But if this fragment of your father's power has come to you now, I wonder, what does that bode for the lock on his jail?
Who could know? Maybe it's been broken.
Or perhaps it's not quite broken, as you said, the power may not have fully manifested yet, since you're in such pain.
Would that Kigatilak had escaped, we would know. Kigatilak is a being older than mankind. It's said that he was born, or from him were born the primordial cold and snows of the north. When men first ventured into those dark places, north of the world, they found him waiting. If he had escaped, the world would be at peril and in an unending winter.
Is it important that I had a vision about this a few days ago? I spent some time letting him know of the vision I saw on
So he looks at you before you have a chance to share and says, "However, I see that Caliburn has been quite neglectful in the importance of portents. Tell me of your vision, Master Alistair."
I go into great detail.
Okay. And he sips on his brandy and kind of stares at the fire. And even though the fire is close to you, Warlock, as you describe this, you can feel yourself getting colder and colder. You know, you hug your cloak in, it does nothing to try and warm you. And he nods after you finish your story, your recounting of the vision, and says, "Yes. It appears that Kigatilak is powerful enough to reach out to the minds of the powerful already. Odd that you sensed it before any of us." So
Yeah,
I'm gonna ask Warlock. I want to ask Warlock, what was the name of that thing that attacked us?
That was
Or what was the name of the thing of the better thing that attacked us?
that was Tillinkut. He's a servant of Kigatilak.
And his master is Kigantila.
Yeah.
Okay.
his master is Kigatilak, but not his creator. Tillinkut is a creature of deception and murder. He's
quite good at the murder.
Oh, indeed. Tillinkut is old and powerful, but he is a pale shadow next to the might of his master. If his master is freed, curious that both the statue would draw Tillinkut to Raven's Crag when the son of one of the jailers of his master was to be found there. Indeed, stones in motion.
So brings us to this topic. I've reached out to the council for advice, and that's what I seek. Do you have any for me, my friends?
I do. You must stop Tillinkut. If the benefit that you gain from his early and ignorant attack is that you are now forearmed with knowledge of what, and he gestures towards Timberline, what you bear with you. It appears that there are now two who hold the power to jail Tillinkut. If three were required to seal him away, the bonds that seal him may be weak. Weak enough for his pup to weaken further, for his Dark Master to escape, I cannot say. To reach his prison is no small thing either. You will need someone to focus that power. You can use the enchantments at Raven's Crag to reach that, but you will need more than what you have in order to access that. More than what he can offer. He gestures towards Timberline again.
Okay.
Do you have a suggestion?
I want to actually make sure that we understand what he just said.
Sure.
So, did he just say normally he require, and here it is, and Kev, you're probably out of this loop, so this is between us.
Yep.
So guys, did he just say that normally it takes 3, but now we can get down to 2 for whoever it is to defeat him? Is that what he just said?
Well, I think he said that if there were 3 needed, that the boss monster would be so powerful right now that it'd be very difficult to do anything. But since we have one of them that we know of, that the prison bonds may be still strong enough that we could get away with sealing it right now
With
our capabilities. We just need something else.
And then he said something about Tillincoot's pup.
Tillincoot being Kigatilik's pup.
Or Kilgatilif. He said something about somebody's pup. And then, so what was he saying? What did he say about the? Is that like he's talking about like the one of them's child is vulnerable or something like that? What did you guys interpret?
No, I think that's just that Kigatilik is sealed away for now, but Tillincoot, the bear that is the lesser one, could potentially try to break him out, and that would be really bad.
Oh, so
we
you
need
think
to be
he
on
was
the watch out.
probably referring to the bear as the pup of the whoever the big baddie is.
And that's who we have to
Got it.
stop, because he's going to be working to free his father or his master.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we'll just put out an APB for bears the size of Allosauruses and be just fine.
Except he can go invisible. We've seen that.
He can go invisible. He
probably
can
fly.
He can. This is something that Aloysius can tell you as well too. He nods and says, "It is wise to know one's enemy." And Tillincoot is a creature of darkness and trickery. He can shroud an area in darkness. He can enchant your mind to think yourself in a place of serenity or danger. He can awaken spirits in powerful places to serve his will. He can hide himself from view. He can adopt the mantle of the creatures of the north. And he is devilishly clever and tough.
Do you happen to know if he has a weakness of any sort? Because while Timberline could go toe-to-toe with him, Straight Arrow saw directly the
I was leading him into the trap.
yeah.
So
And I could hardly pierce his hide with my blast.
Those who... there is nothing that a trickster is more vulnerable to than one who does not succumb to the tricks.
Okay.
a trickster will be defeated by another trickster.
Or by the failure of his own tricks.
Those who fancy themselves more clever than their prey are often found vulnerable when that prey proves untrickable.
And that's always been the downfall of the elder spirits. Mankind is extraordinarily clever when we have to be.
Indeed. And this ancient spirit will, though you may not see him And he kind of gestures to looking at you, Warlock, and gesturing to his eyes. The aura of ancient and absolute evil that this malicious spirit bears should not escape your attention.
Okay. So I should be able to track him.
Track?
Well, not directly.
See. Then, I think you have one other who is owed this news.
You mean Celestar?
His eyebrow arcs up. And he looks over at Timberline. Well, Celestar is a family friend.
Right.
And if the other three heroes who all gained their powers at the same time as Celestar were gifts from the Inuit gods, what do you think that means of her?
Probably same idea. She was gifted her powers at the same time. Maybe she's in danger as well. We must find her.
Abercrombie kind of, looks or rolls his eyes as if, like, you finally get to it. And he looks over at one of the hallway, like, doors leading to the hallway. And he says, "She is in Toronto, is she not?"
Last I heard.
And he gestures, and this swirling vortex of magic, of golden energy kind of appears in it. And he says, "This should be within the block. I hope on ground level altitude. A tricky thing." Then he looks now, fixes his eyes on you, Warlock. This is a formidable threat. Something that potentially endangers the entire world.
Warlock meets his gaze and holds it. Says, "I don't flee when it's important."
He gestures towards the portal. The enchantment does not last forever.
Okay. And in that case, Warlock looks over at Hardpoint and says, "You still got that ear piece?"
Oh yeah, we wanted you to know if you could tell us anything about the material that this thing is made out of.
Warlock says, "It's too late for that." He grabs it from Hardpoint and presents it to the sorcerer and says, if we fail, this will lead you to the statue and it'll be on you.
Indeed.
Be on
Then,
the other side. And he dives through the portal.
okay. He looks at it. And then we cut to you guys go through there, and then the last person that's going to go through is Straight Arrow. And as you're making your way towards it, you hear this, "Mr. Santiago, kindly return that where you found it.
Yes.
Kindly return that where you found it."
Oh, I am very sorry. I do not know how this wound up in my pocket. It's a complete accident. I mean nothing by that at all.
Okay. So as you put the thing down, he then sort of gestures, and
I
you're...
put it down.
Yeah.
It was complete accident. Yes.
So as you're explaining, he gestures, and this like gust of wind picks you up and kind of like, wow, carries you through the portal. So we see in the mean streets of Toronto, you guys are you can picture a downtown metropolitan city of any kind. There's people kind of mulling around, and there in an alleyway there's a light, and then we see Timberline, Warlock, Hardpoint all kind of walk out, and then you see stumbling out. Straight Arrow lands, and
I probably fall, land on my head and back.
You are really dexterous, so you could probably recover from that and hide it as being like I intended to do that, if you want.
Oh yeah. I roll a I was actually an awesome roll. 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I make it by like 7. So
Nice. No, the vision from your scene was Calgary. Although, here's an interesting Canadian tidbit: you would not be the only person to mistake the CN Tower for the Calgary Tower, because they look very, 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 very similar.
Okay.
So Warlock, just so you know, I didn't intentionally destroy the ceiling. I was transported in my mind to some weird place that was very Arctic, and that's why I had to fly away.
But
Now
you
that
broke
we
the
know
ceiling
that,
coming through, so
well, that was necessary. But my point is, now we know that that's something that Tillingcoot can do, so we can be prepared for it.
yeah, don't expect him to use the same vision twice, though.
Well, I can just put my levels into DMCV.
He plays with the mind. Prepare yourself.
there you go. Good answer. That's actually very good. Yeah.
Okay. So Timberline, you have met Celstar. It lives in like the penthouse of one of these buildings in here. Not only because she's over time has grown wealthy, also because she flies. So she wants to fly in and out of this place. You guys are probably about maybe 3 blocks away from where where her place is. So how do you guys want to approach her apartment? From ground floor, from sky level? What do you think?
I think we should give her a call before we intrude. Timberline, you got a number?
Yeah,
Kev?
I would probably send her a text or something.
Yeah.
I'm assuming we're in the real normal time, right?
Yeah, and you can go back. I mean, you could have set this up beforehand as well, too.
Yeah, I need to meet with you or whatever, and she's
Sure.
expecting us.
George, you were going to say
Kev?
something?
Yeah, because I actually have no idea what it was that I was sleight of handing earlier, that I got caught sleight of handing.
Yeah.
What was that I ended up putting back down?
You tell me.
Cigar case.
Okay.
I just assumed that was something that Straight Arrow would be doing.
Oh,
So-
I probably would have. And so, you know what? It probably was. It was probably a very small jade statue that probably was some sort of disfigured figure that was like a small, solid piece of jade that was beautifully carved
Yep.
and was probably worth a lot.
Okay.
And that I actually probably used my forgery skill to see if it was really nice.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And right, and then
What is your? Why don't you give me a roll for sleight of hand?
Well, I don't have sleight of hand, so it'll be an 8 or less.
Okay.
Oh, damn! I actually made it. I
Okay,
actually
so-
rolled a.
So
Five,
what that
but-
means is what you put back is a fake out. Like you returned one thing, but you actually made off with a second thing.
Ah, that's awesome. Okay,
Yes.
so it probably would have been some really disfigured. You know what it looked like? It looked like a jade version of the tiki statue from the Brady Bunch.
Okay.
That's actually totally what it was.
I'm sure nothing bad will come
it
from
actually
that.
would have been that. It would have been that. It would have been the Brady Bunch statue that Greg Brady stole,
Yeah.
and I probably still have Greg Brady's tiki necklace.
So as you come through the portal, you kind of look back and then you spare a quick look at the thing that you've actually got. And you're like, Warlock looks over like, what is that? Nothing.
Right. So I totally now have the Greg Brady tiki necklace
Yep.
with us.
And again, I'm sure nothing bad will come from that.
No, because it didn't on the TV show, which nobody on your channel gets that reference.
I think that should be a free
Dude, that is actually so funny. That is probably the first time that has ever been referenced in a freaking D&D game or Champions game or whatever. So.
Okay, so how do we think we're approaching the for her what do you call it, for her place?
Fly on up there. I mean, right?
Yep. So you
Hardpoint
texted-
will carry Timberline. I'll carry Straight Arrow.
She is there, and she says that actually, she's Timberline. She's glad that you've contacted her. She had something that she wanted to talk to you about. Now, as you guys are, how are you guys planning on flying there? Let's see
Well,
here.
Hardpoint's strong and can probably carry Timberline, and I can probably bear up Straight Arrow since he's so tiny.
Yep.
So I'll just
What is Warlock's strength?
My strength is 10, but my winds rise me through magic, so...
Okay. So it might exhaust you pretty quickly to do this, but I think that Hardpoint could, to be honest, carry both of them. He's got don't you have a strength of 40?
That's fine with me then. Carry both
yes.
of them. Carry
Yeah,
both.
40 is 10 tons.
I'll try and lift Straight Arrow up. I was like, nope, he's been eating his Wheaties.
Yeah.
You carry him.
Oh yeah,
And
I'm
people.
absolute normal human.
I am normal
Size,
strength as
yeah.
a human, so
Yeah.
I'm not.
So as you guys sort of take to the Toronto skyline, we see this beautiful view of downtown Toronto with the now in kind of a matching cut. We see the what do you call it? The CN Tower in the background. But as you go over, and this is where she lives is fairly near one of these busy, busy nightlife kind of streets. But you can see and hear. Why doesn't everyone give me a perception check here? And you can just roll your dice if you want there, George. If you want to save the thing, just tell us how well you do in that
Thank
roll.
you. I don't know what I'm trying to roll, but I rolled
Perception.
an 11.
Perception on 11?
Yeah. So default is my default is a 15, so that would have been by 4.
By 4, okay. By 3, by 4. Okay, so you're the one who hears this first. You can hear the sound of explosions and some kind of energy discharge as you guys are flying along, and it is definitely coming from her penthouse. Timberline, you can see this. Well, picture this as you guys are flying along. Hardpoint has each of you guys in one arm. What do you guys do?
I increase my speed.
Yeah, I'm like,
There
oh,
way
no,
to
that's
like
her house.
throw one of them
Yeah.
flying up fast.
Interesting question. It's one of my favorite things about Champions is how easy it is to figure out what the
Can you like
throw
throw
rules.
Timberline on a building and he can leap like the Hulk from building to building to get
So,
there?
Fastball special.
This is throw. You could throw him 44 meters, which is about 120 feet, give or take, 132 feet.
Is that enough to get up to the...
Oh, unless you push your strength, in which case you could bump it up to 64 meters, which would be about close to 200 feet.
Okay, so I'm thinking I could just throw Timberline up there to,
Yeah.
have that be our entrance.
What do you think, Timberline?
Yeah, absolutely. Do it.
Okay. So you activate your boot jets, you swing him back, and then wah, and toss him along. Timberline, you are go flying through the air. What do we see as you come smashing down?
Yeah. Hero landing, yeah.
Yeah. Boom! Okay, you
Well, probably
smash through.
try not to wreck her house too bad.
That seems to have been taken care of.
Okay,
Because
well
the
then
windows
I
are smashed out. You land on kind of the balcony that leads into the thing. For a split second, you catch a glimpse of Celestar, aka Marie Tremblay, and this is what she looks like, guys. She is, incidentally, she's the age of your father as well, Timberline, which means that she's probably close to 70, and she still looks like that.
Okay, so Kevin,
In
you
your
know what
magic.
I have
I
to
want
do at
that
this point?
power. You're not there yet.
So at this point,
Well,
At
you're
this
you're not there
point-
yet, Straight Arrow.
oh, I'm not close enough.
No, because you've been
Okay.
thrown in. You guys are going to be there in a moment.
Do I
What
see her?
unfortunately happens is you see standing over her is this. So as you land, this thing has, kind of scoops up her unconscious form, looks at you and kind of roars, and there's this swirling vortex of ice and snow that forms, and as you're like leaping towards this thing, it bounds forward and disappears within that, and you come crashing down on the other side of the penthouse. The rest of you guys land at that point, and the penthouse itself is completely destroyed. Walls are smashed in. There's giant rents in the ground. There's burn marks on the floors where no doubt there was some kind of energy discharge. And stuff. It looks like there's been a massive fight. You recognize this as very similar to how Ravenscrag looked after you faced Tillincoot. Timberline, you sort of pick yourself up. What happens next then?
Oh, I mean, as soon as I'm there, I will run and tackle the bear.
So you
No,
tried.
the bear-
It disappeared.
Oh, it disappeared.
Yeah,
Okay.
it moves through that vortex of ice and snow, leaving just you behind. You went smashing into like her kitchen instead of grabbing him.
Shit. Okay.
Is she gone or is she still there?
Gone with him. The Tillincoot carried her through the vortex.
Okay.
You're gonna say, Arlen?
Yeah, can I start like flipping through? Because I've got like heat vision and ultraviolet and all that sort of stuff. Can I start flipping through to see if like he might still be there and cloaked or something?
Absolutely. So you're gonna start switching through. Ooh. You look over and there is in infrared. There is something that is hidden or concealed behind some rubble in what no doubt was her bedroom. Through the door the wall that used to separate her bedroom from her living room.
And Kev, I won't announce it, but I have something that even if she's invisible, I may pick up on.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, if it's the thing I'm thinking of, that's not going to apply to her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I mean, it applies to. I was going to try. I was going to try it anyway.
Sure. Another thing is.
Sense anything about the vortex, the energy, and like where it went?
So go ahead
and
why don't you give us a magic sense, and then Arlen, get a hard point. Give us a perception check. Okay, so Warlock, your eyes turn blue. This is, it is similar in the sense that it has a similar aura, I guess, around it, somewhat similar to what Timberline had. But much harsher and angrier and older. Okay. Hardpoint, the infrared like kind of thing that you see in that room. It is not human, but it is humanoid, and it's not quite as big as what you faced before and what Timberline has described you seeing, and it's stirring.
And you said it's like under rubble or something?
Yeah, it's probably like the bed has been smashed over and some cupboards have collapsed in and bits of the wall have gone through. But this thing is bringing itself up.
So I'm going to gesture over and say, guys, something in the next room, and start moving that direction.
Okay, you start moving your way over. This thing will toss back the cover of what's on top of it as you walk in. Are you readying any actions?
I don't think so, because I'm not sure if this is a bad guy or not. And I'm not one to shoot good guys.
Sure. What about you guys? You see Hardpoint going in. He's told you there's someone in there. What do the rest of you guys do?
Well, Warlock has a predisposition to not kill things unless they're, actively threatening his life. So he goes in there with just his magic, like, mind control stuff blaring, ready to use it.
Okay. How about Timberline?
Yeah, I mean, he would run in there, but I mean, he doesn't know, again, that if this is a foe or a friend, and I think that he's not a fool.
Absolutely. How about Straight Arrow?
My levels would be in perception, doing the thing that you said has no effect.
Yeah.
And I mean, I probably would be holding my action with standard arrows.
Okay. So the four of you guys go in there, and then this thing, larger than a man, throws back the mattress that was covering it, and it looks at you all, confused. Its fist pulled back, and this is what you see, guys.
Oh, shit. That's hilarious.
And what this thing says to you is, who are you? Where's Marie?
That looks sort of like a Sasquatch,
It
right?
speaks perfect English. No, it is...
Or a Sam Squatch?
It sees like it is actually dressed... it is, to your eyes, a full...
That's awesome.
Gorilla.
That's actually awesome.
It is a mountain gorilla, dressed in a suit, wearing glasses. Its hat is on the side, and it's demanding to know where is Marie. And guys, that is where we're going to leave our session.
I was actually thinking that was a Sherlock Holmes-ish
Sasquatch? Yeah, no, he's going to be making a very special debut at some point.
Oh,
Okay,
Well.
so then, guys, that's where we will leave things, and we will wrap things up next week with our fantastic 4th issue. So, let me just kill some music here, and we'll start with the outro here. So, for those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for our thrilling 3rd issue of the Dead Winter miniseries. As always, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section below, and we will endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. In addition, you can reach me on Twitter at Dungeon Musings. You can reach me by email. My email address is dungeonmusings@gmail.com. And in addition, you can find a link to the Dungeon Musings Discord server in the description of the video. We have channels dedicated to all the different campaigns that we run on the channel, as well as different games that we've run one-shots of, and a Finding a Group channel as well, too. It's proving to be pretty good at getting some folks together, and a channel dedicated to our dogs as well, too, and cats, our pets, I guess I should say. In addition, there is a link in the description of the video to something called Heroes Save Villages. That is the charity fundraising campaign that we run on the channel, and that made tonight's session possible, thanks to a very generous donation from our very own Straight Arrow, aka George. So George, thank you so much for making this session possible. I cannot wait for next week's session. This is going to be great. I will be having later tonight a pretty big announcement in respect to the Heroes Save Villages campaign. So if you are joining us live, be sure to check back in, because we will have a pretty big announcement for something coming up on New Year's Eve. So, but if you are inclined to follow through that link to Heroes Save Villages, you can see a number of the different rewards we have for donors, and any donations that are made through that page go directly to SOS Children's Villages International, which is a really terrific charity that's active in over 130 countries, that benefits over 80,000 orphaned and abandoned children around the world, providing a stable and supportive environment that allows these kids to actually have a childhood as they grow up. And you can see the villages, you can see the programs that SOS Children's Villages International is able to provide, thanks to the donations of the generous donors like George, like Arlen, like Jeff, like John's wife, who have, and like John, because that's right, because you also donated for the raffle last time, like all of our Star Wars players here. All terrific, yes, and it is a really terrific organization. I obviously don't want anyone to feel obliged, but if you are inclined to toss any financial support in the direction of the channel, I'd encourage you to click through and learn a little more about that charity initiative and see if it is something that you might want to contribute to. However, again, wait until a little later, because we may have some big news later tonight. Last but not least, I want to thank my players. Guys, Jeff, John, Arlen, and George, thank you so much for joining me back in heroic Canada again. I am very much looking forward to our 4th issue. I hope you enjoyed our 3rd.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah, it was excellent.
I got to explore
yeah,
more.
that was actually excellent. That's actually a super good game.
Excellent. I'm very glad you enjoyed. Then I guess until next time then, folks. Yeah, so for those who joined us in chat too, thank you so much for joining us here. Let's see, we got Brian's in chat. Howdy, Brian. Darren's in chat. Howdy, Darren. And Outrageously, oh, there you go. I keep forgetting it's you, Outrageously Money. Jeez. So anyway, again, for those who are listening to us live, joining us at another time, thank you so much for joining us for another session of Champions. We will see you in our final issue in 1 week's time. Until then, thanks for watching, and happy gaming.